First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Mang Liaoming. Homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong. Homage to the 16th Dharma King Karmapa. And homage to Master Dzogchen Darji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the four heavenly kings and the king of the north, the Jambala, especially. Simu, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, temple directors, all disciples present here and over the internet. And our special guest today from Republic of Taiwan's Executive Yuan, North American Coordination Council, Secretary General Daniel Liao and Mrs. Liao, Dharma Sister Judy. And accountant to True Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa. Producers for the Geni Diansang Shinten of the CTI TV Taiwan, Dharma Sister Rebecca Shiachi. Dr. Lin Su Hua. And from the group of professors from Taiwan and from the professor of the W. Professor of the National Cheng Kung University, Professor Wang Li. And the PR Director of the Taiwan Lizang Temple, Dharma Brother Fermi Wang. Good evening, everyone. How do you do? In Cantonese. Today, we did the practice for the yellow Jambala. And the yellow Jambala is also the northern king of the four heavenly kings. If you visit temples in China, in most Buddhist temples, the first gate, as soon as you enter into that gate, there would be the four heavenly kings. The Dhritarashtra, Virudaka, Virupaksa, and Vaisravana, the four heavenly kings. And they are supporting Buddhism. That's why we call them the great supporters, the four heavenly kings. So after you enter into the first gate, there would be these four heavenly kings. And then after the second gate, there would be Maitreya Bodhisattva. And generally speaking, behind Maitreya Bodhisattva, there would be the Weituo or Sangharama behind Maitreya Bodhisattva. And then in front of the Weituo Sangharama, there would be the Great Hall. And there would be Sakyamuni Buddha, Medicine Buddha, and Amitabha Buddha. If they enshrine three deities, sometimes they have different main deities in the Great Hall. Sometimes it's the great thousand eyes, thousand arms, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. And then they also have side halls where they may enshrine Manjushri Bodhisattva or Samantabhadra Bodhisattva or Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva. There would be many other halls. So the structure of Chinese temples are typically like that. It is slightly different from the structure from the Tibetan temples. And the 4 heavenly kings are the kings that support the Saha world. On the east, there would be, is it Virudaka? No. There would be Dhritarashtra in the east. And in the west, there would be Virudaka. They are protecting there were 4 different continents in the Jambudipas. And then the north, east, south, and west. And the northern heavenly king Vaisravana is of course protecting the northern continent. And his palace is made of gold or silver or crystal or jewel. The palaces are very beautiful. So that's why we say that in the heavenly realms, the 4 heavenly kings are the wealthiest, and they are wealth deities. And in the ocean, there would be the dragon god kings, would be wealthiest. And on earth, there would be the earth god, mountain god, or Prithvi Deva god. They're all very wealthy. And of course, the wealth of the heavens exceed the wealth of the earth and exceed the wealth of the ocean. So they are all very rich, very wealthy. And in Tantrayana, there are practices for wealth deities. There are also 5 directional wealth deities. The yellow Jambala, white Jambala, black Jambala, green Jambala, and the red Jambala. Oh, and the Cai Bao Tian Wang. There are many, many different wealth deities. And wealth deities can bestow riches upon you. So if you see a wealth deity or the heavenly king, or if all the heavenly kings appear to radiate light upon you, then you can buy lottery tickets. But if you don't, then it depends on your faith. In the past, in our temple here, when Grandmaster just transmitted the Dharma practice of Golden Mother instant money, there was someone that won a huge lottery. His name was Lian Hua So Mai. He personally told us that prior to the opening of the lottery, a few days before that, he dreamed of many deities radiating lights upon him, and also Padma Kumara shining light upon him. How much did he spend to buy the lottery tickets? It's like only $5, yes, $5 worth of lottery tickets. So he spent $5. So that evening, when they announced the winning prize, the husband has gone to sleep, and the wife was checking against their ticket. And she was really surprised. The numbers are matched exactly. So she pulled her husband off the bed and told him that we won the lottery. And they checked again, and surely enough, they did won. They did win. So they hugged each other and jumped and danced in their living room or bedroom, and they were really happy. They couldn't fall asleep. They were in the news and they were interviewed by the reporters. So they announced their names, and they told us that they wanted to tell them about True Buddha School and the blessings of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to let them win the lottery. A thought passed through their minds, but then it passed. And then the thought was gone. And after winning the huge lottery and was in the news, they were immigrants from Southeast Asia. And after they were in the news, there were many people from the same country, relatives, friends, and all charity organizations, classmates. Everyone went to their house in North Bend, close to North Bend. Their house was there before, a small single house. And the house was surrounded by people. The people just stick around all the time around their house. Friends, relatives, people from their hometown, their countries, charity organizations from small to medium to big organizations, and everybody was staying around their house all the time. So their two kids could not even leave the house, and they stayed home all the time. Finally, they made a phone call to the police station, and the police car got them and protected them, and finally they left their house. And they had no place to go. They just won the lottery. They didn't know where to go, so they thought about this temple, the Leizang temple. So they asked someone at this temple, and they stayed at this dorm to the east, next to a stream there. That's why we call it like a cottage by the stream. And they hid there. They were hiding there. And they cook They own rice and ate with a little bit of meat, and they stayed there. They were hiding there for about 2 months. 2 months. They didn't come out. They didn't go to the Leizang temple. Oh, at that time they did visit the temple. They came here. This is the story of Lian Hua So Mai. They came here, and then they were directors of several temples, and they got to them and said, "You need to help us build our temples." And went like this. Grandmaster didn't ask for any offerings from them because they were really poor before. There was just a little house and 2 kids at school, and they were just working, and so they were from a low-income family, and what they ate was just, rice, mostly rice with a little bit of condiments, and we brought some food for them sometime. And then after 2 months, they did offer a little bit for the bills. So maybe you think that Grandmaster taught the practice of Golden Mother's instant money. Immediately they started the practice, and they asked for consultation from the Golden Mother by using the moon blocks. How many times do they have to recite the mantras? And they were told a certain amount of number that they had to recite. And then they dreamt of the world deities and Padma Kumara. And Padma Kumara too is the Vajra of great wealth. Although he himself doesn't win lotteries, but he bestows wealth to others. So there are some temple directors from some temples. Of course, I cannot name them. And they are in the process of building temples. So they told them, "Hey, you win lottery. That's given by the heavens, and we are building temples. So why don't you contribute to us?" And because of that inquiries over and over, they couldn't stay here any longer. And then they bought a really grand, luxurious house. That's a really beautiful house. Of course, I went there to bless the house and to bless the shrine. I went there, and Master Lian-Ning and a few other masters. So anyone that's been there, please raise your hand. Nobody? Here? Anyone? No one. So only I went? But I couldn't tell you where they live now. But I could find them. But there's no need. And then one day they said that they wanted to make offering to Grandmaster because they had won a huge lottery. And the lottery prize was 55 million US dollars. So they wanted to invite us for dinner. So we went to Kirkland. What restaurant was that? Fish Cafe in Kirkland. That restaurant now is out of business. It's closed down now. So we ate some Western style food, and they wanted to make a huge offering to Grandmaster. And I thought, Well, because the lottery prize was really huge, so it must be a big offering. So I was really pleased. I could barely eat. It's a joke. It's a huge offering. They said that they wanted to make a huge offering to Grandmaster. Oh, this is rare. It really moved me. I was very touched. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. Oh, wow. Was it my turn? And after dinner, they took a red envelope and in the past, when Master Dehui gave an offering to me, it was really thin as a name card, and probably $100 at most. Because he knew that I would notice how thin it is, so he knows now. Now he would make it thicker because he would use $20 bills. So 100 and then 20 and then $10. It looks thick and you would feel better. But after you open the envelope, oh, so that's the trick of Master Dehui. So the red envelope looks thick, but actually it's like 20s and $10 bills. So because Lianhua Somai was very poor before, so she regarded that as a huge offering, and it was very thin, like a name card. It must be just a piece of paper, and I thought, wow, this must be incredible. It must be a check. Who would know how much he wrote on the check? Of course, I didn't open it on the spot, but when I got home, I opened it and it turned out to be the same as what the offering of Master Dehui. And this is all true story. It was an offering of $100. And then is that all? And I woke up from my sweet dream. But because he was poor, and perhaps he found that $100 of offering is a huge offering already. Because typically, he never made such a huge offering before. You know, maybe $5 each time or $1 each time. Most people just offer $1, and $5 is not bad, right? For the blessing on the head. Although Grandmaster was awakened from the sweet dream, but I still feel very happy because he has the heart to make the offering. So that's the story of Lianhua Somai. The story of his winning the lottery prize. We had 2 people in America and 1 in Taiwan that won huge lotteries. They didn't dare to make it public. One time, I performed the well deity ceremony, and I announced that there would be someone that win a big lottery. And a week later, among the people kneeling down, waiting for the blessings on the heads, someone quietly told me that I won the first prize in lottery, and I said, okay. So, are you going to visit me sometime? And he said, okay, yes, he will. And he did, and not so bad. So Grandmaster place the offering to the Seng Yen Lu Foundation or for other charities. So recently in Bellevue, what was it called?
ICHN Yen S ICHS OK， 那应该是一般的
ICHS
低收入者的医院。
So it's international community health services for the needy and the disadvantaged. And Seng Yen Lu Foundation donated 100,000 US dollars. And many of us have been there. Please raise your hands. So anyone who went there for treatments, 毕彦 So they provide affordable healthcare services for the low-income people. And at the lobby, it was written that Seng Yen Lu Foundation donated that floor 100,000 US dollars. So we continually perform these charities. And in the upcoming ceremony, Seng Yen Lu Foundation will also donate some funds to many organizations. So if you have wealth, you need to give and to do charities. So all of your blessings or good fortunes comes from this givings, almsgiving. And if you're blessed and given by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, you need to give. And you need to have that mindfulness to perform charity. Only then you would gain more good fortune. There is giving the Dharma, giving wealth, giving fearlessness are the roots of your good fortunes. That's all about my teaching on the yellow Jambala. Really, there are people who won the lottery tickets. And in America, there are 2. And in Taiwan, I remember 1. And in other countries too. Today, anyone won the lottery? Oh, I need to ask. Medium and small lottery prize, not the big lottery prize. But someone will win the medium, small to medium lottery prizes. And this must be the retribution from past lives. It's not just from this life that you have accumulated this kind of a wealth, a destiny. You cannot say that how come someone asks and they get it and I ask and I don't get it. Sometimes you have to practice many lifetimes. Now let's continue on the Great Perfection Dharma. So, talking about preferring ascetic's way of cultivation, it doesn't matter how much suffering it is, he can deal with them lightly. And like a Bodhi tree, he sets an example by cultivating spiritually. Like a Bodhi tree, when we visited Bodhi Gaya, we would be able to see the Mahabodhi temple. It's in front of the Bodhi tree. There is a temple that we could see visiting there. And so in Bodhi Gaya, there is a Bodhi tree. And the story was that the Bodhi tree had been cut down and then was moved to Sri Lanka and then moved back. So that was not the original Bodhi tree. But because Sakyamuni Buddha gained enlightenment sitting under the Bodhi tree, so the Bodhi tree symbolized a place of enlightenment. So it is like a memorandum. It has a symbol, a Bodhi tree. So Sakyamuni Buddha gained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, and there was a tree god in the Bodhi tree too. So when the fifth patriarch of Zen Buddhism transmitted the Dharma to the sixth patriarch, to two people. One is to the Huineng, sixth patriarch, and the other one, the great master Shen. And the verse that Master Shen wrote was about existence. So body is like a Bodhi tree, and the mind is like the mirror. And at any time you want to wipe off the dust. And Huineng was talking about the emptiness. That the body is no Bodhi tree, the mind is no mirror, they are nothing, so how could there be dust alighting on the mirror? So one is about existence, the other one is about emptiness. But if you combine the two, then that would be called enlightenment. From Vancouver, someone called Dian Hua Yi Chan. Anyone from Vancouver? So nobody know them? This is how you write it in Chinese. Do you know? Anyone know her? So she shot an arrow about emptiness and not about the existence. So she only met half. So she only talked about the existence part of the Huineng, not the existence part of the Shenxiu. But enlightenment would need both of them. So the body tree
佛陀在这个艺术下
s-
得到了开
symbolizing spiritual cultivation.
坐在树底下
So by sitting under the Bodhi tree, the Buddha set an example and gained enlightenment. So Bodhi tree symbolizes enlightenment.
射箭这个人，你们都不知道，
How come you don't even know the person who shot the arrow? Where has she gone?
还是你们温哥华的，
She's from
连
Vancouver.
过来的，连
It was submitted by Master Lien Yin.
的信是你转给我的，
The letter was passed through your hands.
那是谁拿
You didn't read it, but who gave it to you?
你说里面还有一封射箭的，
And you did say that someone was shooting an arrow. Who gave that letter to you?
不记得，
He doesn't remember.
他也不记得，
He doesn't remember. Does that person exist?
总之你必须要讲，啊啊，今天没有来，记得这个人，那明天会来。
I remember the person. Will she come tomorrow? I hope so. But today she's not here. Oh, it's a man.
一个你字旁，一个单，
But the name is with the character woman.
是男生给你的，
Oh, it's a man that gave it to me, to Master Lien Yin.
如果是异禅的话，应该是属于你的吧？
That name sounds feminine.
哦，我还要问你漂亮不漂亮？
I was just going to ask you if she is beautiful or
我
not.
是一个男生，
I remember it was a man that gave the letter to me. Master Lien Yin said, "Oh no, a man."
因为他射的箭是属于空，
Because the arrow that that person shot, or the verse that he or she submitted, was about emptiness part. But he or she needs to add the part on existence. Why is it empty? You need to say it. And why is it exists? Why does it exist? Then you also have to write that.
明镜台，
You cannot say like what I just said. Bodhi tree, the mirror stand, nothing exists, and then no dust. And then you write a verse similar, and you think then you would gain enlightenment? No. You need to tell the reasons why. Why is it
为
empty?
什么是有？
But why does it exist too? You need to talk about both. Then it would be considered enlightenment.
那有呢？
If you just talk about the empty part, how about the existing
这两个
part,
要在一起，
or vice versa? So you need to combine
色
both,
不异空，空不异。
like what was written in the Heart Sutra, that form is emptiness, emptiness is form, form is no different from emptiness, and emptiness is no different from form. And you need to explain these four statements very clearly so that Grandmaster can see that you truly comprehend about this emptiness and
光了
existence.
解空，
Then I can confirm you
光
as
了解有，
enlightened. But if you only comprehend one side, then how about the other side?
空不异色，色即是空。
So this in the Heart Sutra is about enlightenment.
但是佛经
Form is emptiness, emptiness is form, form is no different from emptiness, emptiness is no different from form. And you think by writing that you have gained enlightenment? No, you're just copying from the sutras. You have to write
也不一定
the reasons behind them.
讲《金刚经》的也不一定开悟。
So those who expound on the Heart Sutra or the Diamond Sutra, they don't necessarily gain enlightenment.
令切经不
they may not have gained enlightenment to expound on the sutras. And also Lankavamtara, Vimalakirti Sutra, they're all sutras about enlightenment. So only the enlightened ones can truly expound on the sutras. If you have not gained enlightenment and you expound or explain the sutras, then you're just explaining on the surface, like on the words. So the Bodhi tree symbolizes the enlightenment of the Sakyamuni Buddha under the Bodhi tree. So the Bodhi tree symbolizes enlightenment. This is important. That enlightenment embodies both the existence and emptiness. And you need to be able to explain clearly why is it empty and why does it exist. So Xiao Zhang saw a beautiful girl wearing bikinis on the beach, and Zhang went to chat with her and wanted to know her name, but didn't want to be so direct, so he asked, "What are you called by your family members?" And Xiao Zhang thought maybe the beautiful lady would reply something. So she smiled and said, "Some called me wife, some called me mom." So beauties of these days are different. So although they are married, they're still beauties. So do you know that for enlightenment, for the enlightened ones, you can teach them anything. There are many verses about enlightenment in the sutras, but you cannot copy them. There are many names attached to enlightenment. So you need to remember that. In front of the clinic, there are two kids sitting, and the nurse kneeled down and asked the little boy, "What's wrong with you? Is there any part that you don't feel well?" And he said that, "Oh, he's swallowing a marble." And then the nurse asked the other boy, "And what's wrong with you?" And he said, "Oh, I'm waiting for that marble because that marble was mine. It's mine." So enlightenment is talking about existence and emptiness as two sides of the same coin. So two boys at the clinic, one is swallowing the marble, the other one is waiting for the marble. One is about existence, the other one is about emptiness. So existence and emptiness are two sides of the same coin. So there are no two things, there's just one thing, just one. So that's why enlightenment is only about one. That's why form is no different from emptiness. Emptiness is no different from form. So the emptiness is embodied within the existence, and existence is embodied within the emptiness. So there's only one, not two. And a prisoner ran from jail, and he was asked, why did you run away from the prison? Oh, because the food in the prison is really bad. And how could you bend the iron rod? I used the bun from last night because the bun was really hard. But that joke wasn't funny. Zhen, who is pregnant for the first time, went to the hospital for checkups, and she's not at peace. So she asked the doctor, when would be the hardest day, the hardest days that I have to suffer? And the doctor replied, the next 18 years is the time it takes to take care of a kid. That's why many people don't have children these days. There are no easy time after you give birth to a kid because you have to nurture them. So as children, we have to take care of our parents. We have to be filial to our parents because to take care of a kid is quite a hardship. And we need to be filial to our parents. The sooner the better. And all good deeds, filial piety is first among all good deeds. So having a daughter is like planting an expensive flower, and you need to be careful. They cannot take too much sunshine or rain, and in the summertime it may wilt, and in the winter it may freeze, that your heart may be broken and your eyes are swollen. And when the flower just blooms, it's being taken away by the son-in-law, all of it by the pot. So it is quite a hardship to take care of a child. So when you have a daughter and she grows up and then she's being taken away by her husband. And it's also a hardship to have a son because the son is being controlled by his wife, the same. So you have a daughter and she's getting married and she's gone. And a son, she's having a wife and having his own family, it's the same. He's gone too. Then you need to know that your parents have worked very hard to take care of you, because as babies you cannot take care of yourself. That's why you need to be filial to your parents. That the fire god especially value people who are filial to their parents, and he sent special guardians around them. So being filial to your parents is the same importance as paying homage to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So every one of us should know how to be filial to our parents. So like a Bodhi tree, he sets an example by cultivating spiritually. Next, he demonstrates the great prowess of subduing all kinds of demons or maras. So Sakyamuni Buddha had to pass two biggest temptations before his complete enlightenment. The first one, when he was seated under the Bodhi tree, all of a sudden his divine eye opened, and he saw his own wife, and her name was Yasudhara, his beloved consort or wife, Yasudhara. And he saw Yasudhara followed Devadatta, and Devadatta at that time was also a prince. You know, Devadatta was one of the 8 princes who became monks. At the end, he avenged Sakyamuni Buddha. So Devadatta courted Yasudhara. So Yasudhara was very intimate with Devadatta. And at the end, Devadatta took Yasudhara to the motel. Devadatta took Yasudhara to the motel, and the Buddha saw that through his divine eye. Riding on a Mercedes-Benz and took on a room, and in an American motel it's not bad, it's fine, but Taiwanese motels in Taiwan is the place for lovers. It's the unclean place. If a picture was taken of me standing in front of a motel, that would be really bad in Taiwan. But in America, it's fine. Motels are a place to stay. But in Taiwan, normal people will not stay in motels. We would stay in hotels. Motels are only for lovers. So Reverend Lily knew you have stayed at motels in Taiwan, right? Oh yeah. You have stayed at oh yeah motels. And the motel was huge, bigger than this temple. What was the name of your room? What was it called? The City of Desire. So she stayed in a room called the City of Desire, just by herself. Because there was a disciple that opened, that had a new motel open next to his room, his house. So they asked us to stay there, Grandmaster too. And my room was really huge. It's big, and we have everything there. So what did you find on the bedside table? No, she couldn't say. There was that safety thing. I cannot say what that is. And because Reverend Lily was bored, she opened the television. And did you turn it off right away? I don't know. We didn't see anything, but she did. She turned on the TV, and she saw that, and then she turned it off right away. There was a huge motel, and it was a chain from Taipei all the way to the south. It's called the Oye Motel. Also huge rooms. So we finally knew what motels are about. So Devadatta took Yasudhara to the motel. So what could that be? One is the beloved wife of Sakyamuni Buddha, and the other one was a prince. And they stayed the whole night at the motel. And in his meditation, Sakyamuni Buddha saw that. And of course, it was painted by the demon, by the Mara. Look at your beloved wife with your cousin, the prince, together. So I'd like to ask you, how do you feel? If you are now Sakyamuni Buddha, how do you feel? Yet Sakyamuni Buddha was totally unmoved. He has left home. He has become a monk, so he has no relations anymore. He has let go of everything, everyone. Even when you see such a scene that would crunch on your heart, it was really hard to bear. If you can bear the hardest thing to bear, then that would be the greatest endurance. And then the second temptation to Sakyamuni Buddha was the demon or the Mara sent his 3 daughters in front of Sakyamuni Buddha. Of course, it was tempting to Sakyamuni Buddha. 3 beautiful girls dancing in front of Sakyamuni Buddha. Like in America, there would be like a topless dance. I remember there was a Rinpoche from Tibet before called Topless Rinpoche. Topless Rinpoche. There was a Rinpoche also called Chocolate Rinpoche. They visited Seattle Lijang Temple. I remember very clearly their names because it sounded like Topless Rinpoche. So 3 beautiful girls dancing in front of you and seducing you, all kinds of seductions. And Sakyamuni Buddha was seated there, seeing these 3 beautiful girls, and yet his heart was totally unmoved. That's a very strong meditative stability. For spiritual cultivators, there are 2 statements that's being passed to me by someone to me. The man should be able to resist temptations, and the woman should be able to endure boredom or loneliness. So the monks should be able to bear, to resist all temptations, and the nuns should be able to endure loneliness or aloneness. So even Sakyamuni Buddha under the Bodhi tree had to go through such huge temptations. How about you? Can you pass those temptations? We have nuns and monks who have left their monkhood and nunhood, even masters that return to home life. And now he's in Beijing and married to a female fellow disciple. Now he lives in Beijing. He has left his masterhood or monkhood. And the gesture that Shen often does, like this. Oh well, what can we do? The same with Grandmaster. Oh, what can I do? Because they could not resist the temptation. That was the master, Vajra Acharya, and the woman often asks about Buddha Dharma from him, about teachings, and he could not resist the temptation, and finally they returned to home life. The same with nuns. There was a nun that got ordained on that day and then returned back to home life on the same day. During the ceremony in the daytime, I shaved her head, and then her boyfriend flew from New York to take her back. And he made dinner for us here at the cafeteria, and after that, he brought her back home. But the meals that he cooked was very good. So the nuns should be able to bear the lonesomeness. But the monks should be able to resist temptation. There are many that have fallen to the temptations. There are many of them that have fallen down, that have lost in the battle. Because the monks could not resist the temptations and the nuns could not bear the loneliness. That in the daytime, in front of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they made the vow, but in the evening, she's gone. She's back to home life, and left a letter and said that maybe there would be another chance to become a nun. And I said, no, no way. Because for nuns, for the female Sangha member, they only have one chance in a lifetime to become ordained. If you return to home life, you have no more chance to become ordained. That's the precept set by Sakyamuni Buddha. But for a monk, for the male Sangha member, they could do so 7 times. They could become a monk, return to home life, and become a monk again 7 times. So see, there is no equality between man and woman. So that's the rule set by Sakyamuni Buddha. For a nun, only once in a lifetime. For a monk, 7 times in a lifetime. So I cannot change the precepts set by Sakyamuni Buddha. There was a nun that asked the Buddhist organizations to change precepts that were set by Sakyamuni Buddha that did not fit in the modern world, but nobody did. Nobody dared to do that. Not even the Dalai Lama. So we need the great endurance power and the great meditative power. These 2 are really important for spiritual cultivators. Om Mani Padme Hum.